Hello, let's check out the short and old anime Golden Boy. The first series begins with the main character Oi Kintaro, a 25-year-old boy who is looking for a job. While listening to music with headphones, the boy is almost hit by an expensive car and he falls off the bike straight into the trash. Having reason, Kentaro sees a girl with large breasts. She gives him $1,000,000 for dry cleaning, medical care and repairing the bike. Get in the car and leave. Kentaro puts the money in his bag and makes notes in his notebook. After that, one old man helps the boy fix the bike and doesn't charge a single cent for it. But after a couple of minutes, the Yakuza come up to him and ask about the money that he most likely owes them for protection. Kentaro doesn't like this, so he heads towards the old man, but turns into the yard and writes again in his notebook. A couple of hours later, Kentaro arrives at his new job, a software development company. He is sent to the boss, and it turns out that this is the one, the blonde who hit him. She makes the boy clean the toilets. He quickly finds a way to have fun and introduces the blonde as his mistress and hugs the toilet on which she was sitting. At this time, the boss enters the booth and almost fires the boy for perverting. But Kentaro begins his monologue about love for computers and that he came here not to clean toilets but to develop. The girl takes him weakly and makes him show his skills in practice, which the boy simply doesn't do, because he really don't understand anything. The teams tell him about the programming languages they work with. One of them is C. Kentaro thinks it's about sex that asks to say to work in the company. The boss agrees, but only on the condition that the boy will not interfere with anyone. Kentaro finds time to learn and constantly asks programmers questions. They help him and tell him how everything works here. While cleaning the floor, Kentaro finds someone's bra and tries it on, but he hears the steps of the staff and hides in a closet, from which he peeps on the girls changing clothes. And he don't forget to take notes. In the evening, he goes to the main office and sees the computer turned on alone with the server. Remember in the memo, don't forget to turn off the light when leaving. Kentaro shut down the main computer and accidentally erases all data. The blonde took a tantrum and dumps all the problems on the boy. The problem is that tomorrow you need to hand over a project that doesn't exist anymore. The next day, the girls try to turn in the project on time, taking a small delay. And then one of the girls finds on her computer a program on which they have been working for several months. It turns out it was written and finalized by Kentaro and left an apology at the end. Going out into the street in search of Kentaro, they run into an old man. He says that he came here to thank the boy who just recently gave him $1,000,000, just like that. This strongly catches the blonde and she gets into her expensive car in search of Kentaro. Our boy actually turns out to be very smart, and right now he is on his way to meet new adventures. In the next town, Kentaro meets a girl and calls her an angel. Now boy works at the headquarters of the election campaign of Juzo Katsuda. Juzo Katsuda is the mayor of the city who wants to extend the term of office. Even the Yakuza work for him, let alone ordinary criminals. One of the workers has a sick son, so Kentaro offers his candidacy for the role of janitor in the mayor's house. There he just saw the same girl. But he is stopped by Katsuda's assistant and warns the boy about the consequences of the connection with Naoka. Kentaro remembers this and goes to clean house. There she meets the mayor's daughter. She apologizes to him and takes him to her room. Then she undresses, as she is allegedly innocent and doesn't understand anything about the relationship between a man and woman. But this is all malicious intent. She knows that the boy will not harass her because he is afraid of his father, and therefore decides to mock Kentaro with his body. The next day the girl meets Kentaro and mocks him again, forcing him to touch her breasts, and in the evening he asks for help with mathematics. The next few days pass in the same way, until Naoka decides to steal Kentaro's notebook. From it she learns that Kentaro sees through her and that he playing with her, not she with him. Therefore the girl decides to take revenge on the boy, calls him home, cuts her clothes and starts screaming. Father and several mercenaries run into the room. They see a boy with Ceduces, who Naoka thinks should start apologizing, but he isn't a coward, and therefore the boy says in front of everyone that he loves her. Katsuda doesn't like this, and he orders the mercenaries to beat the boy. However, after a couple of minutes, Naoka stops them and asks Kentaro's forgiveness. The next day, Kentaro leaves town and meets Naoka along the way, who thanks him for everything. In the future, he began to earn extra money in a diner, where he learned how to make noodles from scratch under the guidance of an experienced old man. One man didn't like Kentaro's dish, so he began to resent, but after talking with the owner's daughter, he decided to give a boy a second chance. On the same day, a rich man comes into the cafe, brings fruit to the wounded old man, eats noodles and invites Noriko to walk around the city. She agrees and looks forward to meeting in the evening. The man and the girl visit the ship, where they both watch the sunset, during which Kogura proposes to marry him. To which he didn't receive an answer. That same night, Kentaro walks the streets after the bus and meets the same man in the company of some girl. He follows them and eavesdrops on the conversation. It turns out that Kogura planned to marry Noriko only in order to take away their coffee and build his own business on this place. Kentaro intervenes in the conversation and gets punched in the face. In a couple of days, the girl is going to meet Kogura, this time during a sports match. A man without hesitation decides to seduce a girl, but Kentaro interferes with him and accidentally kisses him. During a night walk, Noriko stumbles upon two guys. They turn out to be Kentaro and Kogura. The first asks for forgiveness from the second and offers to leave the girl alone. Noriko hears all this and realizes that her lover was a liar. Our boy decides not to hide his abilities and knocks out the bastard in just a few blows. And after a couple of days he leaves the city, making sure that everything will be alright with the diner owner's daughter. Driving past the pool, Kentaro meets another beautiful girl and gets a job again, this time as a swimming instructor. This girl turns out to be the director of the pool. She invites the boy to show his abilities, and again he messes up just like in the first series. They try to kick him out, but Kentaro uses his persuasion skills and finds a way to stay working in the pool, all just to admire a beautiful girl. Exactly 1 month later, he must beat the head of the school in swimming, otherwise he will have to work for free for a whole year and do all the duty work. In the meantime, he is assigned to teach young children who still don't know how to swim at all. The main task is to teach them to dive underwater, and in his free time, local instructors teach Kentaro to swim. The head of the pool tells Kentaro that his teaching methods are not good, as they are supposed to teach swimming, not entertain children. Woman believes that it is necessary to force children to study, but Kentaro thinks otherwise. It seems to him that first you need to prepare the kids for water. On one of the training day, Kentaro offers to show his skills, jumps jumps into the water and overcomes a certain distance in a short time. The girl sees this and wants to compete with him. She starts swimming in front of him, thereby exposing all her charms, and after a while he crashes into her ass. This ends and they both exit the pool. The girl notices that Kentaro was left without panties, which makes her tend to insults, and throws the boy out on the street during the winter. The next day she realizes that Kentaro has come up with a new way of teaching children, allowing most of them to swim happily. Girl accepts defeat and wants to return Kentaro back. However, he is already on his way to New City, where he meets the next lady on a motorcycle. Not keeping up with her, he has to stop at the estate of one of the richest people in Kyoto. But he didn't just stop, but got a job there to gain new experience. This time he has to behave very intelligently, as required by the employer. On one of the working days, he comes across a girl named Reka, who even from hugging the toilet bowl by Kentaro doesn't make any remarks to him. Unlike previous jobs, after a while, Kentaro is still fired, as his work style doesn't suit this estate, and he accidentally notices that Reka is heading somewhere. After following her, the boy realizes that Reka is the same girl on the motorcycle. She says that neither man nor woman tend her on, but only this bike. If Kentaro wants to surprise her, he will have to overtake her on his bike. At first, the trip doesn't bode well, as the motorcycle will always be faster than the bike. However, he decides to take a shortcut and clinging to the spoiler of the car, finally catches up with the girl. Turning on internal motivation, our hero casts aside all fears and tries to cross the canyon with great speed. This impresses the girl and she falls in love with him. But like the rest, she doesn't have time to do anything, as the boy rides into the sunset. Well, is left the last episode. Kentaro temporarily gets a job in an animation studio as a dude whose job is to bring and serve. A sponsor and a scriptwriter arrive at a small studio. The first insist on speeding up the production time, as the guys don't have time at all. Kentaro is trying to help everyone by delivering scenes, buying and preparing food, cleaning up, and even trying to keep up with the animators, who as a result remain dissatisfied. A few weeks later, a sponsor arrives at the studio. She is outraged by the timing of the development of anime. It says that if they don't have time for deadline, then they will have to close on the same day. The director ends up in the hospital and all production is temporarily stopped. Meanwhile, Kentaro tries to support a local girl who paints scenes. She believes that her work is worthless and no one needs, but Kentaro convinces her otherwise. And then he learns that the team can do nothing more and the studio will have to close. But then all Kentaro's girlfriends come on stage. First businesswoman helps to create animation, source programming. The second, the mayor's daughter, helps voice the anime. The third is cooking. The fourth one helps with animation with the help of his body. And fifth, delivers scenes at maximum speed on his motorcycle. And then comes the day of the premiere. Everyone is waiting for a miracle. The anime turned out to be awesome. The author and sponsor are satisfied, just like the whole room. But the problem, Kentaro dumped somewhere again. Gathering his things, Kentaro got on his bike and rushed forward. And all the girls got together and rushed right after him. Whether they will catch up with him or not is unknown, since there was no continuation and the anime ended on the 6th episode. Well, what can I say? The Golden Boy is a really cool anime that is worth watching, not so much because of the plot, but because of the humor and generally different stories from series to series. I advise you to watch it for those who want to laugh heartily. You will definitely like it. Well, that's all for me. Bye.